53. I chose B.
So the situation for this one is you chose one that is passive voice.
Okay.
Who or what is the subject of this sentence?
The subject is MIT.
Yep, MIT is the subject, right? They specifically are the ones doing something. And so I like to identify that you've got the MIT team, you got the MIT team, you got the MIT team, right? The team is specific to the who in the sentence, because you would say the MIT team is the one that's using email, instant messaging, texting, social networking, and phone calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of students have a tendency to choose B from the standpoint that you have gathering, sharing, right? That you're staying with the what's called parallel structure. So I don't necessarily disagree with it in terms of that. Now, looking at the last ones, you got information was gathered and shared by the MIT team. The information the MIT team had gathered was shared, or the MIT team gathered and shared information. What's the correct organization that you want to do in this sentence? Team did something or the information?
Oh, the team did something.
All right. So that is what's known as active voice. In the case of all the examples that are wrong, you have a different subject. So if I look at A, information is the subject. In the case of B, gathering and sharing information is the subject. The information the team had gathered, all of it is the subject. It's the information technically. And then D, the MIT team. Even though B, the subject is gathering and sharing information, technically is the subject, but it just isn't the correct organization, right? Gathering and sharing information is the subject. And so you would say that that is the one that's using emails? No, right? The only one that is specifically doing something is which one?
The MIT team. So D is the right one.
Yep. And so D becomes the correct answer choice because it says the MIT team did something rather than something is done by the MIT team, rather than the information is the subject. And so what happens is the subject that you identified here is that you wanted to say the MIT team did something. The MIT team is the subject. And so what happens is they did something. And so they did something rather than something was done by them, or that the information did something. And so that puts it all together in one correct answer choice from the standpoint of putting in the subject followed by the predicate rather than the opposite.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So when you do active voice, you want to make sure that like who did it follows the dependent clause.
Yes. Well, you want to have your subject do something. So this is what's known as active voice. And so you want to have your subject do something rather than something is done by your subject. So in the case of all the other answer choices, this MIT team is more the object of the sentence rather than the subject of the sentence. That information is the subject in all the other cases. Well, the information is not the one that's using the email into messaging and so on. And so the situation you run into here is that who or what is doing all of this? The team.
Okay.
And so you want to have the team do something rather than the information do something.
Okay. I understand now.